Hey everyone, I'm Brett Harned here with Jenny Plant. Hi Jenny, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Brett. Thank you for inviting me to have a chat today.
Of course. So you and I are getting ready for the AMPM conference in Atlanta at the end of September. And rather than just tell people kind of what the event is about, I thought it would be cool if we just had a conversation that I think might draw people into the ideas that we're looking at presenting and workshopping over those couple of days. So, I kind of thought it might be good to pick up the conversation where you and David C. Baker left off in a video that I saw, I think from last year. So David's going to be joining us at the event. And that conversation was about like, when does combining account and project management actually stop working?
This is such a good question, and so many people ask it. And it actually depends on your agency type and size and overheads and how things are working. So there's lots of factors that are involved. David's answer to me was typically about 9 staff. That's the point typically when agencies start to think about splitting the role, because most companies start very small. People wear multiple hats, including the client interface. So it's totally normal for someone to would be wearing a sort of an account management hat, which means you're responsible for growth of the account, and a project management hat, which you're responsible for delivering flawlessly on time, on budget. And I think what I'm getting more and more of recently is conversations with agency owners who see that they have loads of brilliant client relationships, but their accounts aren't growing. And really, the account manager is perfectly placed to unlock some of that additional revenue in the form of helping. Like, how else could we help the client? Maybe there is lots of different services that you are not introducing at the right time in the right way. Or maybe it's listening more to the client and what challenges they face or what goals they want to achieve, and presenting some thoughtful proposals and ideas. So I think, in answer to your question, just coming back to the original point, at what point and size should you be when you split the role? I think this is totally dependent on the nature of what you do. So, for example, PR agencies rarely have a project management team and a account management team. Some do. I'm not saying they absolutely don't, but typically that kind of account manager role is responsible for the whole client delivery and the strategy and the client relationship. So it really depends on the type of agency you have. What's your experience, Brett?
Yeah, so I've actually been the hybrid account manager, project manager. I was for a long time in small agencies, and I really liked it. So I don't know. I don't think combining the roles is inherently bad. I think in a smaller agency or with simpler accounts, or I can even think of agencies where I worked where everything was more project based. That's where it worked really well. Um, I think the problem when it doesn't work well is that the two roles tend to be like optimizing for different things. So, a PM is thinking, can we deliver this? Do we have the right people? Are we within scope? What are the risks? Like, what is going to derail us? And then the account manager needs enough space to kind of look beyond what is happening today. Like, what's going on inside of the client's organization? How strong is this relationship? Where are we headed? What aren't they telling us? Like, where could we be helping them next is like probably the biggest question, right? So
Yeah.
I think when you think about those two roles and then you think about one person owning both, it's really clear to me that delivery will almost always beat the relationship building part because delivery has a deadline. Delivery has mechanics. Delivery is today, right? The client needs an answer. Someone's over capacity. There's a fire that you have to put out. Relationship development and growth really don't have that same kind of urgency, so they just get pushed out, and the relationship is, I guess, like, built through the chaos, which isn't always the best way to handle it. So for me, like, putting a number, like saying 9 employees, like, that doesn't equate for me. I'm sure that it works. I'm sure it makes sense, but it's not necessarily the signal. For me, it's when the demands of delivery are constantly preventing someone from actually managing and growing a relationship.
Mm, mm. I think there's a couple of things here. One, there's a little bit of a proficiency preference. Sometimes if someone's very, very good at the detail, they're in flow when they're delivering projects, maybe their whole experience of working in agencies has been very delivery focused. Expecting them suddenly to switch, become more commercial, to understand the client's world, to be walking the proverbial halls of the client organization, to sort of expand their footprint in the client's ecosystem, or different parts of their business, it's alien to them. Some would like to make that shift, but I agree with you. It's such a fluid thing for different agencies, because we both of us work with so many different types of agency and size. So, for example, there's a couple of agencies that come to mind who have separated the roles, and they've been like that for years, right? That's how they started the business, and that's how they operate. And I have to say that their growth is faster, more efficient, and, you know, existing clients, we know it's more profitable to grow existing clients, and it is proof, the proof is in the pudding. And getting the two teams to work together really is the secret. Because just as I was listening to what you described there, all of the different tasks that we're expecting people to do is so vast that, like you said, of course, if you're trying to do everything, the priority is going to be on project delivery. Get
Yeah,
it out the door.
making the client happy today rather than thinking about what's gonna make them happy and successful long term. I I listen, I think that it is a viable option, especially for a small agency to have one person doing this work, but I think it's really dependent on bandwidth and focus and goals for the role and expectations for what you want. And if your goal is to aggressively grow your agency, then you probably aren't going to have someone in that singular role. You're going to have someone more focused on scope and managing delivery, i.e., a PM. And then you're going to have somebody in a growth role who is really focused on building and expanding relationships.
Absolutely. It comes back to what you're trying to achieve with your business. Some agency owners want to grow and exit within 5 years. Others want a lifestyle business. I mean, it depends on the nature of the business and,
Yes.
and how you want to operate. Some want to stay deliberately very small and senior led.
Yes.
It's more consultancy. So yeah, there are multiple factors. Um,
I think AI is a factor. I think AI will be a factor. Maybe it's not as much at the moment because we're still kind of defining how project management is impacted by AI and account management as well. But I do have to think that there is eventually enough of the administrative work that gets offset that allows a single person to focus more on the people and relationships and potentially business development too. But again, still need the right personality in that spot. And it's not easy to find someone who can manage the delivery and the growth at the same time because they're kind of at odds in some ways.
yeah. What I see AI helping is optimizing both functions. Like the account managers I've been working with, their skills are magnified through using AI.
Hmm.
I've run a couple of webinars, AI for account managers, and what you can do now with coming up with, visualizing tools quickly and bringing things to life for your client in presentations, optimizing proposal generation,
Yeah.
the transcriptions that you get from conversations, and what insights that can bring you and things that you miss. There's just so many use cases. And I just think if you are enabling project managers, enabling account managers, they're just, the potential is huge. It's yet to be proven, the ROI, because now the topic is token use and worrying about how much money we're spending
Right.
on actually getting licenses for everyone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Again, what do they say? It's the jagged edge of adoption currently. You've got clients, it's almost like two horses in a race. Clients are using it and finding out exactly how quick things take, doing strategy, um, executing as well. And then agencies are finding that, those proposals that you put forward with detailing how many hours it takes you, that's starting to be questioned. I've had a couple of clients of mine, agencies, who have been questioned by their clients. Similarly, I've had agencies say to me, "We're not using it because our clients insist we don't." So, and
Mm,
everything in between. So,
exactly.
as you
Yeah.
say, we're in this really, uh,
It's a
a
messy space.
messy is a good word.
But I think to me, the moral of the story with AI is that if we can free people up from some of the administrative work that has been a part of these roles for years, decades, it allows them to tune more into the people. And I think in terms of PM, that's focusing on the team and clearing the runway for a better delivery, bringing morale up, building team culture. I think from an account management perspective, it is, again, it is also building the team internally, brainstorming with the team, bringing strategic ideas to the team, and using them as your kind of superpower when then going to talk to a client about their business and all of the amazing things you can do for them. So, again,
Absolutely.
AI allows us to be better human beings in some ways.
I like that. I like that. And like you say, the conversations I'm having recently about what does that conversation actually look like with the client? When an account manager is freed up, as you say, from the admin, how do they connect an agency service to a client outcome? What does that what does that story look like? How do they tell that story? When do they tell that story? How do we create the context in which to tell that story? That's what I'm being asked to help with right now. And I think the other thing to mention here is how we are setting the account manager up for success to do that as well.
Hmm.
Because part of it is them having the conversation, but part of them is having the space to think as well before and prepare,
I agree.
um, and strategize.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, I know we need to wrap up. This is just a short kind of conversation, but thank you so much for making the time. We should do this again.
Yeah, let's do it.
And hopefully people will join us in September for the AMPM conference in Atlanta, Georgia, September 29th through 30th.
Yeah, and bring all your challenges currently of your operations and your account management team and any questions you have. So we'll be really looking forward to meeting people.
See you there. Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you.